Hello, today I'm going to show you how to give subcutaneous fluids to your cat. When I first found out that I was going to have to do that, I was a little bit nervous and concerned that it was going to be a lot of effort for very little benefit, but in fact it's the opposite. It's really very little effort, and the cat is like having a new cat. The first time that you do it, maybe the second time, you'll find that your cat becomes almost like a new cat, and you just haven't noticed the decline of lack of energy and general lethargy that your cat has been exhibiting because it's been so gradual. But then when you finally give the subcutaneous fluids, say that 3 times fast, then you'll realize just how far the decline has been, and you just haven't noticed it. So what you're going to need is something that you can either get at the vet. The vet, for me, charges me about 3 times what I can buy it for on the internet. So I ended up buying it on the internet. The stuff that the vet was giving me also wasn't really as good as what I could get on the internet, and so all in all, it's a better deal to find this sort of stuff on the internet. But the things that you'll need, there's really only 3 things that you'll need, and I'll pick the camera up and show you. This I have sitting, it's basically a bag of lactated ringer solution, and I have it just sitting up on this ring that you would use to hold your shower curtain. I just bought an extra couple from Target for $1, and then this little bottom piece here is called an administration set. There's a little thing here that you can watch it dripping, but that turns out to be really unnecessary. The administration set, you can buy them either with an injection port, which this one doesn't have, but an injection port just lets you essentially, if the IV was hooked up to your cat all the time, you would be able to give your cat a shot through the injection port. Here it's not going to be necessary. The injection port doesn't really add much more than about 5 cents in cost to the whole administration set, but you know, you may as well save the 5 cents if it's not going to be necessary. This is how the thing works. It's this little thumb screw. When it's all the way, hang on for a sec, that thing moved around. When it's all the way down, the flow of liquid stops, and when you flip it up, the flow of liquid will start. Frequently, this thing, what it's going to do is it just presses down. It basically just smashes this thing and the tube, and so when it gets a little bit older, that tube will stay smashed down like this, even though you've moved the little ring or the little wheel up. And all you have to do is this thing will freely, this white part will freely move, and all you have to do to get the flow started on an older one is to just pinch it from the sides, and then that will pop the smashed tube open, and the flow will start. The whole process really only takes about 30 seconds. It's really not that big of a deal. As I mentioned, the cat is so much better off with it that there's really no question that you'll want to do that. Hang on for a sec while I put the camera back together. All right, so the general philosophy on this thing, and I'll make another video that shows you how to put it together, but the general philosophy on the thing is that there's going to be a cap, and you're just going to take the cap off, and the cap is effortless to move on or off. There's basically a screw piece here that's going to hold the needle on, and the needles are different sizes and different thicknesses. The ones that you get from the vet, or at least the ones I got from the vet, the metal in them was so thick that the needle had to be very, very thick just to get hardly any flow at all. And the flow was so low that I had to keep it in the cat for like twice as long. And so then I found these needles, which are called T-E-R-U-M-O, Terumo needles, and they are so much better because the inside tube is really, really big, so that the flow is really, really strong. And the outside tube is very, very small, so that the cat doesn't feel it as much. So what I do is I just peeled the back of this thing off, and then I'm just going to basically just stick the needle straight onto the end of the administration set. And then I'm going to lift the little connector or screw piece up, and then that just holds the needle on. There's nothing more to it than that. Of course, the process as I'm explaining it to you, I'm going to spend a lot more time on it. The whole thing, once you get used to doing it, the whole thing takes about 30 seconds. It's really not that big of a deal. All right, so in addition to those three things, the needle, the administration set, and the lactated ringer solution, you'll need one very old, sick cat, which I happen to have right here. This is Pumpkin. Pumpkin is 21 years old, and we've just started doing this about 2 months ago. It took him really about a month to get used to this, but it's not that big of a deal. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up his fur right here and then just jam the needle in. And at first it definitely freaks him out. Now he's very much used to it. So I'm going to go ahead and there's a cover on the needle that keeps you from sticking yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off and put that aside because I'm going to use it to cover the needle back up when I'm done. And then all I do is I just put my thumb and finger together. I'm going to twist him around a little bit. So I put my thumb and finger together so that I can sort of watch the needle, and you can almost feel the needle go in. And you'll see him, he won't be happy about it once it goes in, but you'll see it. All right, so he's gotten used to it. He's not that unhappy about it. So I've got the thing in there, and then all I have to do is just take the thumb screw, lift it up, and I'm watching to make sure that it's flowing. And you can either watch up top to see if it's flowing, or you just look at where the thumb screw was smashing down, and see if, like I said, you can just sort of pinch the sides and get it going. Now, once the flow goes, he can definitely feel that. He's feeling the coldness drop down. The liquid drop onto his body. And you know, they have all sorts of techniques to heat these things up, and I never found one that really worked. But you'll notice that what I'm doing instead is I'm just moving my fingers back and forth, which distracts him from the coldness of it, and it also sort of munges it around, kind of spreads it around so that it's not just dropping in one spot. And that seems to be better than heating it, to be honest with you. So I stopped heating it, and I just moved my hand around so that he's not getting that sensation of coldness. And 20 seconds later, you're done. Then you go ahead and move the thumb screw down, and you have to push that screw all the way to the bottom in order to get it to stop. And then you yank the thing out, and you're done. So that was, 5 seconds to put the needle on, 20 seconds to deal with that. That process, and then you got to pull the needle off. Now, and then what I do is I just put the cover back on so that somebody doesn't stick themselves, and I just throw it right in the garbage. What you may find, and what I keep handy, is I keep a pair of pliers around. What I found is that frequently it's hard for me to pull the needle back off, and so the pliers make that effortless. Then once you're done with that, you can take that little cover, put it back on, and it does not screw on, it just sticks on. And that's it. That's all it is. There's nothing more to it. And like I said, your cat will be so much happier, literally within just a couple of days of starting to do this, that there's no question that you're going to spend the 30 seconds every other day to do it. So hopefully that made it simple and made it easier for you, and you're not as nervous about it as I was. Like I said, it's really, really quick and really easy. So I'll make another video that shows you how to put this whole contraption together when you order it, but there are instructions that come with it. Once you've seen it, it's a little bit easier, but that's really another minute to put the whole contraption together and hang it back onto your shower curtain. The one thing that I found was very handy was to make sure that I got a very long administration set. This one is 80 inches long, and that way I can hang it up at the top of the shower curtain rod, and it still gives me enough room to deal with the whole thing. So hopefully your cat will feel better, and in the end, it doesn't make your cat better, it makes him feel better, but it's worth it just for that purpose.